When we are in trials and in testings, we understand behind that is the blessings in store for us. Tell your neighbor, God has a blessing for you. And here are the blessings. When you are facing trials, and if God allows you to be tested, then, number one, it reveals who we are. In the midst of trial, the Lord is just revealing to us who we are. And in fact, trials will introduce us to ourselves. You'll know who you are in the midst of pressures, in the midst of trials. We have two militaries here. One is the U.S. Army and one is U.S. Marine. We know that you have been through tough training. I don't know in your batch, Dr. Charles and Lance, is there anybody who quit during your training? Is there? Yeah.
Some died.
Because the training will exhaust them. The training will test how tough they are. I remember Robert Schuller. Here is his statement. He said that tough times will never last, but tough people do. So it reveals who you are. You don't know yourself. You thought that you were so tough, and then suddenly you were in the midst of trials and testings, and you broke down. That means there is something lacking still in your heart and in your faith. So God is allowing trials and testing for us to know personally who we are, because it reveals something within. When there are pressures, who are we? When you put pressures on the lemon, what comes out? It's sour. When you put pressures on the chili, the pepper, what will come out? The bitter taste. Spices. When you put pressures on amargoso, and then bitter gourd, comes out the bitter taste. God allows pressure so that you will know what kind of juice comes out of you during the times of pressure. I remember Jesus. No matter what pressure comes on him, the world pressured him, the religious people pressured him. There are a lot of pressure, even to that point they crucify him. But still, the juice that coming out of his mouth is still sweet, because there's nothing bitter and sour in his heart. Are you with me? So you will know yourself. God is introducing you. God is so gracious enough to allow these trials and testing to come upon your life so that you may know exactly who you are. Thank God for that. It unearths the character flaws and define our weaknesses. Because if we know ourselves and we know the character flaw within us, then we can do better next time. We can be a better person. It defines our strength and affirms our capacity. Some of us have the capacity to carry 100 kilos. Some of us have only capacity of carrying 20 kilos. During the times of pressures, during the times of trials, James said, you will know your strength and you will know how much capacity do you have. So that you will not measure yourself above who you are. That you may define yourself in a proper way and in the right mindset. So that you may know how God looks at you. So God allows certain kind of trials because He wants to reveal ourselves to us. Who are you? Then God is revealing yourself to you. Number 2, the blessing behind the trials and testings is we grow wiser. Those who have been through a lot of trials and testings, when you pass these testings, if you pass a lot of tests, you will be a wiser person. So God, like the teacher, they did not intend to give the test to the student to fail the student, but to test the level of wisdom and understanding the student got. So God's intended purpose why He allows trials and testings is for you to know how wise you are. Wise people solve problems. I remember I asked God, Lord, give me wisdom. And the Lord answered me by giving me a lot of problems. And I asked the Lord, Lord, you know, I did not ask you for problem. I asked you for wisdom. And the Lord told me, where are you going to use your wisdom? The level of the problem you can solve is the level of wisdom you got. So don't be afraid of trials, problems, because you know it will only show who you are, and then it will only prove that you are wiser now than ever. Do you want to be wise? Be ready for problems. Be ready for some trials because you will learn from that. Do you know that God allows trials and testings to catch your attention? Because usually we don't listen to God. But we do listen when there are trials and testings. We become attentive to God. Thank God for that. And so, when God wants your attention, and if you're not listening, sometimes He allows these things to happen. But He did not intend for us to destroy us or to harm us. That's what the Bible said. God did not intend to harm any one of us. He wants us to be a wiser and a better person. Next is, the people who encounter a lot of problems and difficulties in life learn a lot and they are wiser after that. Number 3, when problems, trials, and testing comes, we become a better person. You know why? Look at Job. Job told us in Job 23 verse 10, but He knoweth the way that I take, but when he tried me, I shall come forth as gold. That means you come out a better person after you undergo trials. It's like a cleansing soap. It's like a cleanser. You know, when you are under trial, you are like in the midst of the fire. And you know, to purify a gold, you need 999 degrees. I don't know if it is Fahrenheit or Celsius. But you need that kind of heat in order for you to purify gold. That's why Job understands that God allows these things to happen to make him a better person. When God looks at us today, He allows us to undergo different kinds or various kinds of trials. Sometimes the trial of somebody is different from somebody because God knows that this somebody can only carry this kind of trials. And you know, sometimes if we don't understand trial, we talk to the Lord. And then we tell God, Lord, why is it, of all the billions of the people in this world, why me? Because we don't understand the hotter the fire, the purer the gold. So the bigger your problem, the bigger is the wisdom in store for you. So don't look at the trials and testings as if it is bad or evil. When God allows these things to happen, sometimes you don't know. You have not done anything bad, but why is it that you have undergone this kind of way? Because the Lord said, like what Job is saying, He knows the way that I take. Don't you know that God knows your situation? God knows if you don't have money in your pocket. God knows it. He knows the way that you are taking now. But hold on, you will come out and you will come forth as gold. God loves you that much. He wants you to be a 24 karat gold. Did you know that there are three kinds of gold? The 10 karat, the 21, and the 24 carats. You want to be a 24 karat gold? Then allow God to put you into the hottest fire of trials and testings. Because you will come out a different person after that. All the impurities will go. And what was left is the original part of the gold. God loves you that much. Tell your neighbor, do you know that God loves you? God loves you. That's it. Hallelujah. Number 4, we become a stronger person. You become a tougher person after you have been through a lot of trials and testings. These military men become tough after they have graduated from certain trials and testings and training, because it makes you tough. Do you know that people who doesn't encounter difficulties in life are weak? Sometimes they don't have confidence because they have not been in that difficulties. But the moment you encounter a lot of difficulties, you will tell, oh, it's just easy. I know what will happen. When Joanne testified in different churches in the U.S., when she begins to tell her difficulties, all eyes, all ears, ano na pamatik sa iyo? Because they know she had experienced tough times, that experienced difficulties. And you know, look at John. He's a very strong leader, you know? He's a very stronger person, you know why? He has been through a lot. So don't blame God when He allows trials. Don't blame God and point your finger at Him. Because you know, God loves you that much, He wants you to be a tougher, stronger person in this life. When trouble comes, we have opportunity to exercise our spiritual muscles and we become a stronger person. So that's what James is seeing behind the trials. When you understand, your life will become fruitful. Do you remember the parable of the sower? Only one heart is receptive to the seed of the Word of God. That means there is only one good person in that 4. Do you remember that parable of the sower? One seed falls into the ground, a pathway, stony, and the thorny. It did not grow. And when it falls into the good ground, Jesus defined it as a good heart. A person who understands what he had heard. When you read that book, when you read that passage, it defines the person as a person who understands. Because there are some people who don't understand. And the only fruitful person in that story is the person with a good heart. Because he understands. And he produced 30-fold, 60-fold, and 100-fold. That means, if you understand something, your life will become fruitful. Say with me, fruitful. God did not intend on us only to be faithful, but God wants us to be faithful and fruitful. Say with me, faithful, and fruitful. Okay, so God wants you to be strong. Do you know that you need weights for you to grow your muscles? That's why you go to gymnasium. For what purpose? You want to grow your muscles, you need to put weights. God sometimes put weights on you so that you will exercise your spiritual muscles. Don't blame God. Thank God when you are in that situation. That's why James is saying, rejoice. Be joyful. When you are in the midst of many trials, imagine those people who are really brave and heroic and got a heroic thing in the Bible, just like David. He's a giant killer. Look at Abishai, he can kill 200. He can face 200. That's why when I'm watching a movie, and then a person could handle 100 people, and I told myself, it could be. This is not just a movie. But in the Bible, even one person could kill 1,000. Do you remember Samson? He can kill 1,000 with just pangalang sa kabayo. With the horse